talk is called Pis and Wi-Fi. Who am I? I have a job. I don't represent them. They don't represent me. What I'm going to talk about today is stuff for edutainment. Whatever you do with it, you do with it. I'm not responsible. And I will not give you bail money. I have a family. I have a wife. I have 3 very expensive kids. So I don't get a whole lot of money. I've got 2 at home, 1 in college. I have very little income, and that's why I play with cheap computer parts and try to find out ways to make things better cheaply. The router that I have, I got for $1 at the Goodwill. Had a little bit broken antenna, duct taped it. Works. You know, other tools you could find for real cheap out there, and you know, people getting rid of old routers and stuff like that. If you want to hack them, have at it. There's a lot of stuff out there to do that kind of stuff. I do not work in the security field. I'm not a programmer. Always looking. Of course, if somebody wants to throw 6 figures at me and say, "Come work for me," then I now work for you. However, I just play with things. I'm a hacker. Ever since I was 10, 12 years old, I've been hacking things from my VIC-20 and big track toys and everything else to the computers at the Montgomery wards and making them do crazy things and reboot and all that. Forgive my voice. I've been fighting a cold all weekend, and apparently the beer didn't help last night either. And the worst thing is I hate wet socks. Had nothing to do with my sides. All right, so I'm going to talk about 3 different tools. 2 of them are going to be for the Raspberry Pi. If you're not familiar, the little Raspberry Pi, the W, is the one I've been playing with lately. But I also do stuff with the 3. I'd made the arcade machine that's out in the thing that you could play with, and I did that with the Raspberry Pi 3. The other one is going to be a programmable Wi-Fi chip. And I found some really neat stuff on the internet we can do with that. Pi-hole is going to be the first thing I want to talk about. That's the one I'm having trouble for some reason. My Raspberry Pi doesn't want to talk to my network. It happens. What the Pi-hole is it's an ad blocking tool for your network. This is not only for your laptops and computers, it's for your cell phones, tablets, and whatever. And what it does is, well, first of all, the software is free. Setting it up is simple. It's 1 line. That's it. That's all you need. And it's pretty slick looking the way that the interface is. What it does is it kind of acts like a DNS server, and it blocks all the bad DNSs and all the ad crap that you get whenever you're surfing the net. To build it, I used, like I said, the Raspberry Pi Zero, and anywhere from $5 to $10 you can buy these things. I've seen some of the places around here are even getting sales for like $5. You get 10 if you got to get it shipped. The processor on it's gigahertz, so it's enough to do FTPs, it's enough to do file servers, it's enough to run some stuff. I wouldn't run big giant systems on it and CTFs and everything else on it. I have had them get very, very hot. I've experienced that when I was playing with this one. So far, this one seems okay, but beware, some of them do get a little bit hot, so you might want to get cases and stuff for them. I don't particularly use them because, like I said, I'm cheap. And then it just uses an it has a micro HDMI adapter. The thing is that the Pis are cheap. It's all the cables and the other stuff that you got to get that actually brings the cost up. So the Pi might be $5, but by the time you got cables and everything else, you're into it 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. Cases and multiple ones, and you can get crazy with it like you can any hobby. And of course, the power supply, you can plug it in your laptop, or you can steal one of your kids' phone chargers, as long as it's not a junky iPhone. No comment. The software is free. Like I said, here's a link. I'll have the links at the end there. It has 1 curl command. That's all you run on the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi setup, I'm not going to go too much into that. You can Google it. There's tons of good stuff out there to set up Raspberry Pis. I won't bore you with the details, but basically once you get in and you get an SSH into your Raspberry Pi, you run 1 command and it sets it all up for you. Then you go over to your router at home, and you just put in whatever the IP address of your Pi is into one of your DNS servers. And so it'll act like a DNS, it'll route through the DNS server of the Pi. Now, demo time. I could not for some reason get this to work, so we're going to hit some slides from the website. This is the website, the piehole.net website. And forgive me my slides. I don't speak professionally. I don't do PowerPoint. I just throw things together and say, hey, have fun with it. There's your one command. They've got a video. It shows us it's very easy to use. I don't know if I should show their video because they'll probably sue me, even though it's free. The API and the interface is really neat. I don't know if I can get a big, I don't know if it shows it enough. All right, I'll go to my slides. I did take some screenshots because I figured I would have some problems. When you first come in, there's a good looking interface. Shows you your queries. I just ran this real quickly on my network. I didn't have it running real long on this version I have. But you can see all the different queries, your domains, which ones it's blocked, and so forth. The thing about it is when it's plugged in, it works really good. When you unplug it, your kids notice, your wife notices, and everything. They're like, why am I getting all these pop-up ads? I never got them before. No, that's because I had the Pi hole, and who unplugged it? Well, somebody had to charge something, and that's usually why you kind of notice it when it's not plugged in rather than when it is. Configuration is really easy too. I mean, it pretty much, if you need to whitelist something, the only thing I think I ever had to whitelist was Spotify. For some reason, it blocked Spotify. So you go in here, give it a domain name, and it whitelists it. It's got blacklists, whitelists, all kinds of tools. And like I said, this is free. This is for you to play with, do whatever you want with it. The tool section is really good. You can do reports. What my talk is just to give you a sample of it. Go home and play with it because it's really cool. But it's something that you could just leave on your network. It's low power. You can run it off of batteries. You can run it off of, just plugged into something else and just leave it and set it and forget about it. And that's what I did. Because usually Pis, I like to try to run multiple things on them. But for a $5 Pi, just throw it in the corner and forget about it. Go in. You can see what your kids are surfing, and it lists all the, the sites that have been blocked. And if you want to block sites that you don't want your kids seeing YouTube, you can go in there and block that and do all that. So that's the Pi hole. Sorry I speak fast, but I will leave links at the end. The second one is a Wi-Fi jammer deauthor, which sounds really cool. It is under $10 is what I paid for the chip. I think I paid $8 something for the chip. It's just a little Wi-Fi programmable chip. The software is from a GitHub repository, so it's free. You can use it from any browser. You can use it from your cell phone, or you can use it from your laptop. Very low power. You can plug it into something like this, and it'll last for hours, maybe days, depending on how long you want to run it. And because it's small, it's very, very easy to hide if you want to hide it, and you'll find out why later. The chip, like I said, it was cheap. Then you throw an SD card and a power supply and a power bank, same as the Raspberry Pi. The more you add to it, the more expensive it can get. Oh. Now I got to figure out how to go back one slide. There we go. Oh, okay, that was just the software where I found it and everything. And it might take me a few minutes to get it set up. Hold on. Okay. It's available free from GitHub. And then there's a software that you use to flash the chip with the software. There's a Windows and Linux version. I first found out about this from a YouTube channel called Satonic, and I'll leave a link for them at the end, and they have a really good tutorial on how to set it up. And now I will demo if I can. Okay, let's try this. So first of all, I plugged it in, make sure there's a power supply to it. It looks like it's powered up. So what it does is it creates its own Wi-Fi. And I don't see it. Yeah, live demos suck. Maybe we'll try this over here. I'll just put a power to it. Okay, I got a bleep on it, so it should be working. Let's see. And if you have any wrenches, just go ahead and throw them at me now. It's okay, I can take it. Except you.
Battery.
Okay. And of course it doesn't want to work either, does it? Of course it doesn't. Come on. And of course it doesn't want to work today either. Ah, yes it did. Finally, yay! Alright, so what is this deauthor thing I'm talking about? What it is, it's a way to broadcast your own SSIDs, your own internet Wi-Fi sites. Fake ones. Alright, so first of all, what you do is you go in here and you scan the networks for access points. And as you can see, we have a lot of access points around here. I'm not going to attack any of them, but I'm going to show you what you can do. So anyway, we'll find one. There's a lot of hidden, Secure WV, HackerCon 8. That's mine, actually. That's this thing here. So go ahead and select that one. Clients, and I'll do start. It'll scan for any clients that are connected to this Wi-Fi. And we'll see if it does it or not. Come on, go faster for everybody. One bad thing is this thing likes to disconnect when it's doing certain things. Like most hacker tools, it is buggy. And the version of software I'm using is a little older than it normally is. Come on. We're waiting, people. Come on, come on. Ah, there we go. We're back in. It didn't find any clients. That's okay. So here's the main screen, is the attack screen. This is what we want. So what you can do is up here, we'll go ahead and there's the attack. You could deauth, which if you find clients on the site, when you did the search, and it's probably better than I searched mine, and you find people, you can actually deauth them and kick them off the Wi-Fi that they're on. And just basically kick them off. A few seconds later, though, they will connect back onto their Wi-Fi. But that gives you enough time for an attack vector. And the attack vector is going to be the beaconing. So the beaconing, you can clone. So if I want to clone a certain site, say you have here, I'll just clear that there. And say we have a site called, Good Site Sits? No. Good Site. And you want to clone it. You can start cloning it. Oh, let's give it another one. We're done. Clone, not colon. Clone 2. So there, I have created new sites. So I cloned a lot of them. So how is this effective? Say you have somebody you just deauth from one site. You know the name of the SSID that they were on, and you just duplicated that SSID. Say if you have a Wi-Fi pineapple, or you have something else that they connect to, and they see a bunch of these, they might connect to the bad one. So if you look, I don't know, let me see. You can check your cell phones or your laptops right now. You'll see all these different HackerCon 8 ones. I did that before. Right. So this is, this is live is what's happening. And you can add more. You can randomize them. I'm going to stop with the beaconing. We're going to clear this. Okay, clear. Now, if you just want to mess with somebody, you can do the probe request. Let me see here. You can do random. And as you can see, you can do a whole list of random. And then if you start beaconing them, now if you look at your Wi-Fi, hopefully if it works, it does take it a few minutes to kick in. It's not happening just yet.
It's happening.
Is it happening? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of empty
Yes, obfuscation. That's, in a security world, like I said, I'm not a security guy. I just play with tools. I just find cool things to screw with people. It's fun. And then, of course, the one that I like to do is add them in. So if I want support Trevor's family, you'll start to see that. If I want to clone one, say support the bug, boom. And if you check your Wi-Fi, you should probably start to see those coming in. I don't know why mine's not refreshing. Probably because I'm connected to I'm not connected to our Wi-Fi here. I'm connected to other ones. So you should start seeing them now. Like I said, this is a tool. This is a toy. Do with it what you want. I'm not going to tell you, but again, I'm not going to pay bail money either. Now, the probe request, I really have not got to play with too much, and what it says is it spams the frames with all the SSIDs and the list below to confuse Wi-Fi trackers. I'm not a security guy. I couldn't tell you what Wi-Fi trackers would be used for, but I'm sure you guys probably smarter than I am about this. So this is just one tool that I found. Like I said, I found it on there's a group called Seytonic, Seytonic. They're a British group out on YouTube, and they have how to set this up, and they have all kinds of other cool things that they do with Wi-Fi and also with Raspberry Pis. Which brings me to my last Raspberry Pi. And this is going to be a quick one because I didn't really have a whole lot of time to demo, and I'm still kind of playing with it myself. And this is my interfaces for this in case this blew up on me, which it's starting to look like it did. Okay, come on. Da, 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 da. Okay, this is the most fun one, and this is the one I want to leave you guys with to go home and try, and maybe you guys can do a talk. Somebody can do a talk on it next year. It's called, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Pond Pi, I guess. It is using a Raspberry Pi, and I don't have it set up because that's the one that fried on me, the Raspberry Pi. It's the same. You just use it. You can use the Wi-Fi or the Pi 0W, $5, $10. You can get one of those. Same kind of thing. You load the operating system onto it. You run some scripts, and the Seytonic's got a good tutorial on my slides that you can check out. It's basically a USB rubber ducky, but it's special. You can't just plug it in and pull it out after it steals the hashes, and then you can take them home and plug your Raspberry Pi in, or take the SD card out and it stores the hashes of the thing, and you can hack the hashes later, or you can leave it plugged into the laptop. And a lot of people's like, well, wait a minute, you're going to leave this thing plugged into my laptop and somebody's not going to know about it? Yeah, right. Look how small this thing is. I've seen these things embedded into mice. I've seen them embedded into keyboards and hooked to the power supply of the keyboard and then plugged in the back. Who's going to even see, that's plugged in. Who cares? Now what you can do is, if you're familiar with the rubber ducky, you can run rubber ducky scripts to do many things. Change the background. I think we had a talk, 2 years ago? Somebody was talking about changing with the USB rubber ducky. You can also, we use it to just different scripts to try to steal Windows credentials. Some of the other stuff, let's see here. Mubix, his responder is also loaded with, software is loaded with this. And it's all on a GitHub repository that you can, MAME82 Pond for Pi, and you can do the Craig. Now, I've tried it on a Windows box, the Mubix responder, and you can actually, as this thing's plugged in, you can see it. I should have demoed it this year, but on a Windows box, you can actually see it start busting through the logins, trying to bypass the Windows authentication. And you can actually see it on the laptop running as it's running. It's not very quiet. You can kind of see it, but I'm sure you guys are smart. You can figure out how to make it quieter. It can use PowerShell scripts. It can launch PowerShell scripts. It can launch text scripts. Anything a rubber ducky can do is this one. And then there's some other links. Like I said, I buy my stuff off of Amazon and buy my stuff pretty cheap because, like I said, I'm a father and a family. I ain't got much money to play with, so I get to play with these kind of toys. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask. Hopefully I can answer them, but I'm not an expert in any means. I'm just giving you guys tools to go play with. So, no questions? Awesome. Oh, yes.
What's your preferred power supply, preferred case, preferred games?
I like the batteries because you can leave them and not worry about them. But usually power supplies, anything off a cell phone, it's going to be, I think, a 0.5 volt or something. I'm not sure exactly what the specs are because I just grab one off there. And I've never really, that one I had a problem with was actually the chip, not the power supply. But whatever comes with it, hit the Raspberry Pi site up. I'm sure they can give you the exact what you need. If there's kits you can buy that put it all together, that's really helpful. But for me, I like the batteries just simply because, leave them somewhere, you don't have to worry about them. But if you have to power it up, you can do whatever. Now the cases, you can get creative. These are really cool. You can find a whole lot of 3D printing cases where you can print your own 3D cases that look pretty cool with these things. What I'm going to try to do next year is make a arcade cabinet like that one back there, but I want to make it about this big. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that next year or not. It's one of my goals to have a mini one. I just got to find the little joysticks and buttons and stuff. No, I don't want. Oh, it's smaller, not bigger. That one takes almost 2 people to carry in. The thing's heavy. Yeah, that's true. That's how I got it in here. So I throw it in there. So, any other questions? All right, great. Thank you very much for listening to me.